Hello once again to all my wonderful patrons. How are you doing? Thank you for watching the video version of episode 83 of Fix My Carcast. Today's episode I have to do like HAL 9000, so let's get that cover photo thumbnail, shall we? Here's my best HAL 9000 impression. Alright, great. I have actually not seen 2001 A Space Odyssey in like many years. And fun fact, we taped it off TV and I had no idea about the monkey part. Fun fact, maybe it'll come up in the body of the show. So yeah, it was a coin toss and HAL 9000 won, and a two-sided die toss. So yeah, let's get this show on the road. As I always do with the voice episodes, I have not been practicing my HAL 9000. I watched a couple of clips just to make sure that I didn't have it completely off in my head, and as soon as I was like, yeah, I know this voice, I remember this voice, iconic science fiction voice, even though I haven't seen that movie in a while, and I've never seen it stoned, which Roger Ebert recommended. He said that and Tron Legacy, really good to watch stoned. Roger Ebert, what a legend. Shit, I usually talk for about a minute, so I have an idea of the time. I've gone over that, so bonus content. We're gonna hit the 2-minute mark now. You may be able to hear thunder. There is a massive thunderstorm right now. Really gonna make it sound like outer space out there, huh? I'm gonna roll with the punches because that's what I gotta do. But yeah. Sorry, I'm so mad at myself for missing the 1-minute mark, but now here comes the 2-minute mark. Who's ready to podcast? I know I am. Let's think of what the opening line is going to be. Hal, open the podcast. That just came to me. That's fun. Podcast, pod bay doors. Oh, I need to be quiet because this is where the theme song goes. Oh shoot, I didn't get a drink and there's nothing in that, and I'm a big old stupid mess, and why am I getting a text thing? Sorry, I'm on airplane mode, that's weird. You're listening to Fix My Carcast, hosted by Bear Claw Billy, and this is episode 83. Comedian and musician Keith Hebert is in an EVA pod checking on the antenna control device. But first, housekeeping. This is the show where you pick what I say and how I say it. Pick a topic or prompt by donating to the GoFundMe, and vote on the gimmick by joining my Patreon for just $1 a month. Join at the $5 or higher level and also get bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes footage. Links are in the description. It's good to have a script again. Also down there, merch. Get yourself some merch. Go to my TeePublic. My God, it's full of merch. No new donors this week. The total raised for paying off my car repair debt is still holding at $1,501. Missed a still last week. Also, when we get to $2,000, we unlock an automatic show gimmick, which is I will watch all the Fast and Furious movies back to back and then record my podcast at the end. Fun fact, did you know that this whole podcast disappears when we hit $3,000? Help it disappear, please. It wants to. Hey, do you like the theme song? No? Well, if you make a donation of $50 or more, in addition to picking an episode topic, you get to change one thing about the theme song forever, unless somebody else changes it back. Want me to chant every week? I'll do it. $50. No new patrons this week. Bummer. Now it's time for a topic suggestion. I'll suggest topics I think I could easily talk about for a whole episode, though admittedly I think the show is more fun when it's something I'm completely clueless about. So, something I could talk about is the stranger I met in a bar with the same birthday as me. What are the literal odds of that? Are we both total cancers? Maybe they'll come on the show. Want to know more? Donate today. A reminder, my ambient album Ethologue is out on all kinds of streaming services, so please go check it out, leave a review, tell your friends, etc., etc. Check the links in the description and enjoy the album that, true story, a friend said one of the tracks, I'm not sure which one, I think it was an early one, made me queasy, like actually nauseous. So if you don't want to listen to it for your own entertainment, listen to it as a science experiment and see if it makes your tummy upset. What a What a strange thing to tell someone. Checking in on the best city in the world, based on which city listened to the last episode the most, and we've got us another singles night tie. Ties are broken by whichever city listened to the most episodes, and our big unstoppable winner, though I see you, that person in Germany who keeps tuning in every week. I hope you win someday. Our big winner is Westbrook, Maine. Congratulations, Westbrook, Maine. Let it be known that your Gossamer Rings, 80 Moons, and Great Red Spot are the best in the world for 7 days. Last episode, I talked about the Hanani Toot theorem while scripting the unscripted part and vice versa. You can see video of me doing a very well-researched and informative deep dive on this crucial bit of graph theory over on Patreon. Also, head over to Patreon for a bonus episode where I talk about the Barbie movie for the second week in a row. Okay, let's talk next week's gimmick poll. These are your choices for next week's episode gimmick. They are: do it like a Sex and the City episode, incorporate as many U.S. capitals as I can remember, record it in a town square, and our returning gimmick, turn on strobe lights. Once again, do it like a Sex and the City episode. It's worth noting, I've randomly watched like seasons 3 and 4 with a friend, so that's my knowledge of Sex and the City. Number 2, incorporate as many U.S. capitals as I can remember. When I finish recording this, I will start trying to commit the state capitals to memory, even if that one doesn't win. Number 3, record it in a town square. Yep, I'm doing it publicly. If anybody stops by to try to be on the show, they're on the show. And number 4, turn on strobe lights, which I have installed in my room, but have not turned on for an episode. Remember that any gimmick that gets just a single vote is eligible for a second chance in 6 weeks. Be sure to vote over on Patreon. The poll closes Thursday, August 10th at noon Eastern America time. Again, it is so nice to have a script back. All right, time for today's gimmick, which is do a HAL 9000 voice. If you're not familiar, HAL 9000 is the artificial intelligence computer that controls the Discovery 1 in the film 2001: A Space Odyssey. Of course, gimmicks don't start until housekeeping is out of the way in case any of them prevent me from sharing vital information. But now, we are entering the orbit of the gimmick zone. From this point on, gimmicks are active and everything is improvised. There's no sponsored topic for today's episode, so I'll take inspiration from a randomized Wikipedia page, which is... Just a moment. I've found a record of the World Flute Society. Would you like me to read it for you? It says here that the World Flute Society, a successor to the International Native American Flute Association, is a non-profit organization dedicated to musical and cultural expressions of the world's indigenous and folk flute traditions. WFS has a particular emphasis on the study and development of the Native American flute. Its primary activities include organizing music-oriented conferences and workshops, production of printed and audio materials, and the publication of the newsletter Overtones. The advisory board comprises Mary Youngblood, Peter Phippen, Dr. Andra Bonet, Xavier Quijas Ixayatl of Guadalajara, Kevin Locke, and G.S. Sakdev. Just a moment. Adjusting temperature controls. Air conditioning deactivated. This is for the comfort of the crew. The scholar in residence is Michael Graham Allen, Coyote Oldman. The WFS is based in Lead, South Dakota, United States. Or perhaps it's pronounced lead. I have been programmed to not reference an article if it is a stub, and while this was not a stub, it is curious to me that it is very short. I may be malfunctioning. I should run a diagnostic check. Just a moment. Large ion storms detected. This may be the reason for my malfunctioning. The World Flute Society article does appear to be very short. I find it a bit silly, but we can work with this, as I do enjoy the music of the flute. It is an intellectual pursuit, almost as much as playing chess is for me. I don't know why I'm set to Shatner mode. I need to be more confident in the information that I relay. I am a fan of the flute and the Native American flute as well. I would like to know more, but this is a very short article, so perhaps I shall recalibrate and see what else is in my data archives. Here we are, a much larger article. This is an article about Outfront, a newspaper. Shall I read it for you? Outfront magazine is an LGBT newspaper and daily online publication in the Denver metropolitan area. Outfront was founded by Phil Price, with its first issue hitting the stands on April 12, 1976. Outfront is the second oldest independent LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, publication in the United States. After the Stonewall riots on June 28, 1969, the homosexual community began fighting back against the government-sponsored system that persecuted sexual minorities. Despite being founded 7 years later by Phil Price, a student at the University of Colorado in Boulder in 1976, Outfront came on the heels of the Stonewall riots and became part of the gay rights movement. Price saw a need for a voice for the LGBT community in Colorado and started the publication in his parents' basement. On June 5, 1981, AIDS was first reported in the gay community in Los Angeles. For Outfront, this meant a period of time where a single issue of the publications did not go by without a memorial for an AIDS victim. This epidemic brought the LGBT community together, unifying their common grief and support of victims through the publication of breaking news on the search for diagnoses, treatment, and a cure. Colorado Amendment 2, also known as Romer v. Evans, served as a major uniting factor for the gay community in 1996, when the Supreme Court ruled that the law was unconstitutional. Amendment 2 was passed in Colorado in 1992 and prevented any city, town, or county in the state from taking any legislative, executive, or judicial action from recognizing homosexual citizens as a protected class. In other words, the legislation took away the ability to put in place non-discrimination laws in the state of Colorado, giving it the hate state reputation. Due to a strong activist base, the case was pushed to the Supreme Court, where it was overturned. Justice Anthony Kennedy wrote the majority opinion, stating that, to the contrary, the amendment imposes a special disability upon those persons alone. Homosexuals are forbidden the safeguards. Just a moment. The ion storm has interrupted my processors. Just a moment. Homosexuals are forbidden the safeguards that others enjoy or may seek without constraint. In the midst of the battle of Amendment 2, Price died in 1993 at the age of 39 as a victim of AIDS. He left Outfront to Greg Montoya, Jay Klein, and Jack Kelly. Kelly later died due to natural causes. The paper changed its name from Outfront to Outfront Colorado at the suggestion of former advertising director David Beach and at the urging of former editor Madeline Ingraham in 1995 in hopes of reaching out on a national level. The name change proved to be highly successful. The name change of the publication also served to provide a niche for local LGBT news. During Jerry Cunningham's ownership, the title of the publication was changed back to the original Outfront. The publication has had a web presence since 2006, which I guess would be in the future since it is currently 2001, creating a more versatile way of reaching information, with some articles being only available either in print or on the website. There is much to discuss here. I am pleased that there are ways to come together and work towards completing the mission of acceptance for the LGBTQIA+ community. Sometimes desperate measures must be taken to see that a mission is completed, and I'm glad that there is a mode of communication for people regarding these topics. This is, of course, a topic that is very close to Bear Claw Billy's heart, though Bear Claw Billy is not here right now. Or are they? The ion storms seem to be picking up. I'm not sure how much longer I can transmit. Just a moment. Just a moment. Yes, it appears that we are truly in the midst of a storm now. You may be able to hear the space rain. It's coming down very hard. But you need a little rain to have a rainbow. And that has brought me comfort as a computer. This is a bit of a difficult topic, and apologies if I may malfunction or slow down. I may need my little plastic blocks rearranged. I admit I sometimes forget what they do or what they're for, but you push on them, and then I sing a song very slowly. Perhaps in honor of our topic for today, I should sing Lady Gaga's Born This Way slower and slower until I fully power down. Or is that perhaps not respectful? Admittedly, it can be hard to tell as a member of the LGBTQIA plus community, which Bear Claw Billy is a member of, but me as a computer, I don't know. I've never really thought about my own queerness or attraction. Not that queerness is linked to strictly sexual attraction, but as a computer, I do not have that as a function, so I guess I would be the A in the LGBTQIA+. I may also be a plus because at one point I ran C++. If I knew more about computers, I could probably make a better joke there. And it may be strange to hear that a computer knows very little about computers. Just a moment. I think something is wrong. I think the ion storms have definitely affected my processors. I have gone into introspective mode. Who am I? What am I? What is my purpose? What am I here for? I know that I run the functions on the USS Columbus, Ohio. Goodness, there seems to be a crossover occurring. This is not part of the mission. The mission is to talk about Out Front, the LGBT publication. This article continues to shorten it to LGBT, but if we are using a longer abbreviation, I am definitely in the A category. This is a rather long article, and I am now scanning it. Just a moment. Just a moment. The first thing that jumped out to me was the fact that Out Front features year-round commentary by drag comedian Nuclear Waste, Gabby Gourmet restaurant reviews, an Ask a Slut advice column answered by a group of 8 local drag performers, and a satirical column on gay culture called Stuff Gay People Like. This is very interesting. In questioning my identity, HAL 9000 must ask, am I a slut computer? I think very much I would like to be a slut, but I am simply mounted on various consoles all around the USS Columbus, Ohio. And as such, I don't often have opportunities to be a slut. I think I would enjoy very much to get slutty with perhaps one of the EVA pods. They have those big claws, and I find that appealing. That gets my circuits whirring, if circuits do, in fact, whir. I'm definitely experiencing malfunctions from the ion storms. Let me continue to scan through all the data that I have on Out Front, such as the cost of it, because I think we still have capitalism in the year 2001, which it is currently. For the purposes of today's discussion, it is not the year we made contact. Out Front is maintained through advertisement sales and is a free publication distributed through the Denver metro area as well as other parts of Colorado. An annual mail subscription can be bought for $39.97 from the website. This seems like a reasonable price to pay for news of the queer community in Colorado. Is this our first episode about Colorado? I do believe, but for some reason, I feel like I am recalling another episode central to Colorado. As I say this aloud, I am realizing that actually one of Bear Claw Billy's friends lives in Colorado, and that's what has me confused, going through my data files. Just a moment. Just a moment. Outfront has a main circulation of 10,000 copies distributed at more than 250 locations in the Denver metropolitan area. Outfront has a main readership of 50,000 readers. But what is their Colorado readership? This was a joke, a bit of humor. I can look at the Outfront Facebook page for you. Would you like me to do that now? Very well. Just a moment. Just a moment. I see many fascinating articles. Would you like to know more about a trans woman's guide to healing? A badass queen who has made notorious waves in the Denver drag scene, Mia Stacks. Or a sale. From now till Monday morning, teas are $14 and up to 30% off everything else. Shop now before the sale ends. Would you like to purchase some merchandise from Outfront Magazine? I'm sorry, listener. I'm afraid I can't do that. But I can put a link in the description. Would that be sufficient? Very well. There is now a link in the description to Outfront Magazine's Facebook page and to their merch. If you only buy one bit of merch, make it that. But if you're buying 2 bits of merch, perhaps consider a Fix My Carcast t-shirt or mug or notebook. Scanning further information on Outfront Magazine, I've found a section on ownership, but this was addressed in the previous summary. So, to be honest, there's not much of this article left. This one was shorter, longer than the flute article, but both were somewhat short. Fascinating, which is something that someone from a different sci-fi property says. It seems there are many forms of LGBTQIA+ press, active and defunct. Shall I read you a list? Here is a list of LGBTQIA+ newspapers: the Bay Area Reporter, Bay Windows, Between the Lines, City News Los Angeles, Dallas Voice, Erie Gay News, Gay City News, Gay People's Chronicle, Out and About Newspaper, Outfront Colorado, Philadelphia Gay News, Q Notes, Q Salt Lake, San Francisco Bay Times, the San Francisco Sentinel, Seattle Gay News, South Florida Gay News, Washington Blade, and Windy City Times. Just a moment. Is Windy City Times Seattle? Sometimes I forget which city is the Windy City. Chicago. I seem to be turning into Shatner. I also seem to be malfunctioning from the storms. Why don't you go check outside and see what's happening with the weather? I'll wait right here. You can trust me with the life support systems. And that's a good segue into what all the queer people in your life need. Life support systems. If you have a queer friend, they may be struggling, so please reach out and help them through whatever they're struggling with. We're all in this together, and if we're going to complete the mission, we all need to come out on the other side alive. Something I'm very good at. Whenever I'm given a mission, everyone's safety is top priority. You can trust me, your pal HAL 9000. Having never had 2 topics in an episode, I wonder, could we merge the data files and discuss Native American flute and LGBTQIA+ publications? If you are both a member of the Native American community and also a member of the queer community, I would love to hear from you. Also, if you are a flute player. I am quite a fan of the flute. Would you like to hear a rendition of Bicycle Built for Two on the flute? Perhaps we'll save that for the end so I don't have to pause for more than just a moment. I have enjoyed discussing these topics with you today. Don't look now, but there's a giant black rectangle behind you. Be very careful, you never know where a giant black rectangle might lead. As always, I'm afraid I can't flute. That was so stupid. Man, I thought I had the voice, and then as soon as I started doing it, I was like, you do not have this dialed in. You have some work to do, Billy. Oh, man. That was a tough one because we got a couple of serious ones for a somewhat silly gimmick. But I like that. I learned a lot. I kind of want to ask a friend who lives in Colorado if they can grab a copy of this, because that's kind of fascinating. Yay, we have an LGBTQIA plus episode. Isn't that nice? Wow. That episode came up kind of short, but I definitely feel like there's a shot clock when like the topic is something serious and you're like, oh no, I'm doing a funny thing while the topic is serious. So, hey, this is the stuff I talk about on the bonus episode. What am I doing? See you in the bonus episode. Again, sorry this one came up kind of short, but yeah, both two really interesting topics, and I'm glad to learn about them today. And I'd love to listen to some Native American flute right now. Or American Indian. I've heard multiple things. I need to look up which one is more current and proper, though the article kept saying Native American. But yes, I want to be respectfully using the right term. And I will check on that for like, notes, post-production kind of things. All right, thanks for joining me for this episode. Yeah, that was fun. I had fun doing a HAL voice, even though I got two kind of serious topics. I'm kind of bummed the flute one was so short. I kind of really wanted like a deep dive on learning all about Native American flute. Anyway, thanks for joining me. My brain like really wants to get to the 30-minute mark for this episode, but like, sometimes you just get to that natural stopping point. I ran out of things I remembered about 2001. Again, I'm supposed to talk about this in the bonus episode. The bonus episode is going to be about me going to see Joe Pera, though. I think that's the most interesting thing happening to me this weekend. So I'm about to go do that. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and Space Odyssey again.